Welcome back to Smash Ultimate, and welcome to the Dark World. Starting off, we have Chaos, the god of destruction. Ha 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 ha! Chaos is the main antagonist of the original Sonic Adventure, not counting Dr. Robotnik, of course. In his base form, he's just this weird blob of water creature, despite being an alleged god. But as he is fed the Chaos Emeralds, which are named after him, he eventually grows more powerful to the point where he becomes a giant Godzilla-esque creature who destroys the entirety of Station Square. For this particular battle, not only do we have, you know, the best Sonic Adventure song in the world playing, but on top of that, we also have myself playing as a Chow, because the Chow are themselves related to Chaos. In fact, if you raise a Chow perfectly in the Chow Raising Simulator, it ends up looking like Chaos, like one-to-one, so that is pretty neat. We haven't really seen much of Chaos, not since Sonic Adventure, unless you want to count the illusory Chaos that appeared in Sonic Forces. And that's kind of a shame, because I wish they would do more with this bizarre, borderline eldritch creation. Anyway, quite hard to kill this guy with him being made of metal, so skadoosh. So, continuing on in this enigmatic Dark World, our next spirit is right here. Oh, and Crazy Hand as well, looking forward to that one. So, here we have Jen. Jen appears in the original Street Fighter as one of your enemies, and he also makes quite a few appearances in the Street Fighter Alpha series. Jen is Chun-Li's trainer, her master, so to speak. And sadly, the character does get leukemia, which is why he's not as much a prominent figure in the series anymore. His fighting style, you know, it's Crane style, it involves stances and poses, hence why Lucario was playing him. And here is Crazy Hand. In Smash Bros., the entire series, from Melee onwards, whenever you fight Master Hand at a high enough difficulty, he brings in a reinforcement. He brings in Crazy Hand, and the two of them fight you together. Crazy Hand, unlike Master Hand, whose moves are all quite well telegraphed and easily dodgeable, is a lot more erratic. And yeah, you have to really pay attention to its movements in order to avoid getting creamed by it. That said, I've fought this Crazy Hand enough now to kind of know what his deal is. Not quite as intimidating as he was back in the Melee days, so yeah, Captain Rainbow here is going to give Crazy Hand all of the business. Just going to get in there with some well-placed hits. And yeah, that move where he's just flailing on the ground, you have to be careful of that one, because he gets a lot more sideward momentum than he looks to do. Like, he can really catch you with that one quite easily if you're not just shielding it. Anyway, couple more well-placed hits, just dodging all of these moves, because holy shit, there's so many of them. And at higher difficulties, especially on Classic Mode, there are even more moves that Crazy Hand can do. Master and Crazy both. And their repertoire has only grown since the beginning of the series. And, yeah, you just have to stay on your toes with them. I think at this point, though, I think we've got a pretty clear win, despite my relatively high percent. Just need to avoid getting hit by anything too devastating like that. Yeah, don't want to go getting hit by that move. That would have killed me, so come on, end it with a punch. End it with a cool-ass Falcon Punch. That's the only way. Oh, here it is. Nope, fuck. Oh, god damn it. Alright, one more. No, fuck. One more Falcon Punch. Come on. Alright, then. Fuck you. Ruining my bit. Alright, that'll do. It'll do. A win's a win. Even if I didn't end it with a goddamn Captain Rainbow Punch. As much as I wanted to. So, defeating Master and Crazy, neither of them have actually relinquished their spirit, so to speak. So, we will be battling both of them repeatedly throughout the rest of the game. I'll be skipping past those battles, you kind of get the gist of it. Here, we have the legendary dog trio, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, all from Generation 2. These 3 legendary dogs are the Gen 2 counterparts of the legendary birds, and they have quite a bit of interesting shared backstory. The 3 of them were previously, well, arguably a Jolteon, a Vaporeon, and a Flareon, but that's not really confirmed. They were previously different Pokemon who were actually killed in a fire in the burned tower in Ecruteak City, and Ho-Oh brought them back to life, regenerated them as their now legendary forms. All 3 of them get quite a lot of play. Suicune is the main mascot of Pokemon Crystal. Entei was the star of his own film, the 3rd Pokemon film, as I'm pretty sure I've discussed previously. And, as for Raikou, not as big of a thing, but he did get a TV special called The Legend of Raikou, if I believe, so yeah. Part of a spin-off series named Pokemon Chronicles, which focused on side characters. Anyway, we're going to end this by taking out Suicune, and there we go. By the by, the stage there, and it being on fire, was representative of Ecruteak's burned tower, from an aesthetic standpoint as well. Keeping on the Pokemon train, we have Hydreigon, the evolved form of both Dino and Zweilous. Hydreigon is a Dark and Dragon-type Pokemon who, before the Fairy type was introduced, was incredibly overpowered. Like, one of the most dangerous Pokemon introduced in Generation 5. But sadly, the addition of Fairy-type Pokemon, who are quadruply effective against him, yeah, kind of an Achilles heel there, so whoops. But, you know, still a cool Pokemon, and there he goes. Next up, we have Kaida. Kaida is Marth's wife from the original Fire Emblem games. She is an absolute pain in the fucking ass to fight here in Smash Bros, as you'll be seeing shortly, so I'm going to do a little upgrading, giving myself the ability to poison with my smash attacks. Yeah, that's how desperate I get here. And yeah, for this particular battle, to represent Kaida's role as a Pegasus Knight, we have another one of those battles where we battle on Skyworld and the gravity is low. On top of that, though, there are high-powered winds, so to mitigate that, you have to equip a spirit that cancels out the wind. So you cannot do this battle at your maximum capability, so to speak. You are inherently nerfed, which is not good for a battle where it's 2 against 1 and both of your opponents are, you know, pretty much level 9s and incredibly capable and incredibly powerful and working in sync. It sucks. It makes for a really frustrating battle. It took me 45 minutes to beat this battle alone. But I do appreciate what it is representing, though. The fact that the 2 of them are so in sync not only represents their marriage, but also Fire Emblem's support mechanic. In Fire Emblem, if 2 characters are close enough, and if you keep them battling closely enough, they become far more devastating when close to each other. So that is in part what's being represented here. On top of that, another cool thing is that the music playing is a song appearing in Fire Emblem 6. A song that plays anytime you recruit a character. And the reason for that is because Kaida, in the original Fire Emblem, in Shadow Dragon, allows you to recruit the most people. She is very good at diplomacy and will allow you to recruit both enemy units and, you know, third-party units into your party on a permanent basis. So yeah, she's pretty goddamn invaluable. Hence her 4-star spirit nature. So, moving on. Here, we have Incineroar! The final form of both Litten and Torracat. Incineroar is the fully evolved Fire-type starter in Generation 7, and I wasn't expecting him to be added in Smash. I wasn't expecting another fully evolved starter a la Charizard and Greninja, but being the only wrestling character in Smash, he's a very welcome addition, and he's really fun to play. What I will say is, as a Pokemon, Incineroar is great because for the longest time, the Pokemon fanbase would get so angry at a reoccurring trend. Fire and fighting type fire starters. There was Blaziken, Infernape, Emboar. The three of them, not to use a pun, burned people out pretty hard on fire starters. So Incineroar came in, looked like a fighting type, which pissed everyone off, and later revealed himself to be a dark type. A heel wrestler who takes pride from pissing people off. And I love that. That's genius. That's almost a meta joke there, and I'm not sure if it was intentional. But yeah. Anyway, over here, we have the Octoling girl and boy, the main protagonists of Splatoon 2's Octo expansion. In this single-player DLC expansion, you played as one of these Octolings under the name Agent 8, and what you would do is you would travel through a bunch of subways in order to infiltrate a bunch of secret underground facilities, all with this dark industrial aesthetic. And I have to say, the choice of Midgar for a stage is absolutely goddamn perfect, because that is also the opening of Final Fantasy VII with the, bombing runs. So, hell yeah. But, yeah, as for this battle itself, it is a tricky one, because the two of them do like to hive mind quite a bit. I did get very lucky with the Octoling girl accidentally, KOing herself there. And, thankfully, I do have my Killer Whale Final Smash, which I can make liberal use of to get a nice easy win. There we go. And, yeah, moving on from that one, we have the Landmaster. Built by Slippy Toad, the Landmaster is the tank. The actual ground-based tank owned by the Star Fox team and deployed in missions where the R-Wings are not safe to fly, usually areas with anti-air missiles. And, yeah, the Landmaster itself also appeared quite heavily in the Smash Bros. Series, as before this game, it served as Fox and Falco's final smash. They would call in their Landmaster to shoot you, run you over, or if you're feeling really mean, fly you off of the stage with its hover capabilities. So, yeah, they made some big revisions to the final smashes in this game. There aren't as many that allow you to freely maneuver around the stage in an alternate form, so to speak. Hence why they now just fly in their R-Wings and shoot you up. So, moving on, we have Mega Man Volnard. This is Mega Man as he appeared in Mega Man Legends. This incarnation of Mega Man is a digger, and yeah, a lot of his missions would involve him running around a bunch of caves and tunnels, so to speak. That is being represented by the low gravity, because this was not a platformer by any means, like every other Mega Man game in the series. And this particular battle, with all the bombs everywhere spawning in and causing many, many explosions, is representing the bomb defusal mission that appeared in Mega Man Legends. That's also why we have a timer slowly ticking down. We have to, defuse the bombs, so to speak, or in this case, take out all of the other Mega Men here. So yeah, this fight is an absolute crapshoot, because it is just chaotic, and there are explosions everywhere, and there's also lava and spikes and stage hazards, turning it into a bit of a clusterfuck. But I can't pretend that I didn't have tons of fun with this fight, even after losing it a few times, because it's that perfect level of chaos where you just want to throw yourself at it over and over and come out on top, which is kind of what I ended up doing. The final smash here definitely did help, I will say that much. So, here come that Mega Man firing squad with all the boys, and there goes one of them. And here goes the other. I can't see you surviving this. Skadoosh. There we go. And that was Mega Man Volnut. Moving on, we have Kraid. Kraid is one of the most high-ranking space pirates in the Metroid series. And, yeah, makes sense because he's a huge fucking hulking monster. In the original Metroid, obviously, it's an NES game, he couldn't be that big. He was about as big as Ridley. In Super Metroid, he was fucking gigantic, and yeah, it really did make for quite an intimidating battle. In this particular version of the fight, we have a big K Rool to represent the big lizard monster that is Kraid. We have him slowly becoming slower and more unable to maneuver himself because Kraid does just throw his weight around. And yeah, thankfully I have my Light Suit Samus who can make absolutely easy work of Kraid, even in spite of his incredible bulk. And on that note, if you train with Kraid, you too can inherit that bulk. You get the tank style, which makes you really tanky and really slow. Very fitting for certain characters, but far from one of my favorite things to apply. So here, we have Yuga. Yuga is a Lorulian sorcerer appearing in A Link Between Worlds. And Yuga's ultimate goal is to harness the power of Ganon. So, yeah, Yuga is bad news. Yuga is pretty much a main antagonist of that game. And, yeah, Yuga is being played here by the Purple Inkling to represent Yuga's affinity for paint. And also Yuga's general color scheme. When the Inkling goes down, we get a bigger Inkling. This represents Yuga when Yuga succeeds and actually merges with Ganon, becoming Yuga Ganon, and the final boss of the game. One last point to make is that the Kalos Pokemon League stage that we're currently playing on, with its stained glass and its ornate design, is very similar to the throne room of Lorule Castle, which is where the final boss fight takes place. So, yeah, lots of thought went into this one. As for the battle itself, thankfully, it's not a battle where you're going up against a horde of enemies, because there's way too many of those recently, and they will give me quite a bit of trouble. This one I got on my first try. Yeah, not too difficult, just make sure to put plenty of pressure on Yuga, and you'll be done. So, it is fitting that we fought a Zelda spirit there, because the area we're going to next is absolutely rife with them. We're going to go to Hyrule. The first spirit we're battling here is the Imprisoned from Skyward Sword. The main antagonist of Skyward Sword, Demise, the demon who serves as a blight on all of Hyrule for all of its history, is cursed into this form by the goddess Hylia, and you have to go out of your way to stop the Imprisoned from reaching the sealed temple, where he can be unleashed. That is why that battle was the way it was. Anyway, we get a couple of K-Bora statues here to give us advice. And here is Nevere, not from Zelda, but from Fire Emblem. Nevere is a Myrmidon appearing in Shadow Dragon, and is one of the Fire Emblem character archetypes. A Myrmidon who starts off as an enemy unit, but you can appeal to their heart of gold with a innocent unit, usually a cleric, and they will eventually cave in and join your side. Other characters that fit this archetype include Guy, Joshua, Rutger. It's interesting how most Fire Emblem games will follow the exact same character archetypes, and yeah, the point has been made that Fire Emblem kind of functions like the Commedia dell'arte. While that point was kind of made as a goof by Polygon, Brian David Gilbert, I fully agree with it. It's a very good point. Anyway, there goes Nevere with a nice little sword duel. Over here we have more advice to help us navigate this area and find spirits. And here we have Caitlin and Katie. Fitting that they're so close to the Lost Woods, because in Animal Crossing Wild World or Animal Crossing City Folk, you can bump into Caitlin, who has lost her daughter, And in order to find her, you have to visit another player's town by using the connectivity feature. So this fog, which itself is very easy to get lost in, is kind of getting across that point of how Caitlyn managed to lose Katie in the first place. That said, the whole gimmick of the stage is somewhat undermined by the name David being hovered over my head and the CPUs having CPU over their heads, giving them away even though we're not supposed to be able to see each other. I would say that the fog gimmick is, you know, not that debilitating and can just be ignored. You don't necessarily have to put on a fog immunity spirit, but that claim will be very much put to the test by this next battle, which is brutally fucking hard. So, a statue here tells us how to find a secret, and that I will remember that. However, here is Celebi. Celebi is a 4-star spirit and a mythical Pokemon from Generation 2. Generation 2's Mew equivalent. Celebi is grass and psychic type. Weirdly not a fairy type, even though it is described as being an onion fairy. And it is the protector of Ilex Forest, a protector of forests in general. Also with a penchant for time travel. So, yeah, Celebi is incredibly powerful, incredibly potent, and for this battle, we have a tiny Mewtwo who loves evading you and is constantly healing itself, and you're constantly taking damage because in a competitive environment, the Celebis generally operate by draining your health with, you know, leech seeds and mega drains and giga drains and such. And yeah, this battle would be borderline fucking impossible if I wasn't mitigating the fog, because getting hits is hard enough. Getting hits on a target that you can only partially see, that's just goddamn mean. Like, for this battle, you can see I'm dishing out a shitload of damage, and I'm doing it pretty quickly. And even still, our HP is matched because of the drain effect. When you're actually battling a Celebi in a competitive environment, this is what it feels like. You have your health just slowly whittled away, and there's very little you can do to stop it. And Celebi has both the bulk and the special bulk to resist whatever you do to try and put it down. So, yeah, very, very accurate battle, very well represented, just an absolute pain in the goddamn ass for it. However, this battle is very much worth doing, because Celebi as a spirit gives you arguably the best ability in the game. So, yeah, the very same ability that's making this battle such a pain in the dick is now mine. You get greater auto heal. You just heal over time for a lot. For long battles, like long form battles or boss battles, that is an invaluable spirit, and why would you ever use anything else? Anyway, here is Woodman. Woodman is one of the Robot Masters, appearing in Mega Man 2. Woodman's whole deal is that he attacks you with a leaf shield, summoning leaves around him to throw at you, and yeah, that translates into Smash as Mega Man's down B. One of the more fucking annoying down Bs in the entire game. So, yeah, in this battle, if you can play a character with a reflector, do that. Don't do what I'm doing and try to be thematically correct by battling with another Mega Man, because fuck, the leaf shield's annoying. Like, goddamn. That said, in Mega Man 2, Woodman's weakness is the atomic fire that you get from Fireman. Obviously, you know, burning the woods. And that is why if you equip the Woodman Spirits, while it does give you a shit ton of defense, it also makes you weak to fire. So, there's your drawback. Anyway, moving over this way. Actually, no, I need to go and do that puzzle that the owl told me about. What did he say to do? East, south, south. I could do that. That's easy. East, south. Oh, okay, not quite. I need to beat Mr. L first. Mr. L is a mysterious figure who serves as a reoccurring enemy in the game Super Paper Mario. He's also one of Dimentio's followers, and yeah, I'm not actually sure who he is underneath that mask. Very mysterious character. Don't know why Luigi was playing him, that seems like a weird choice. Anyway, going that way gives us a new owl. Oh, hello, secret path. What do you have to say to me? Northwest, north. God damn.
When she needs to be, she can go through the air and climb up trees. If you choose her, you'll not choose wrong. With a skip and a hop, she's one cool car.
Okay, that was that. Northwest, north. So that would take us into the water. And over to here. So, here is Saria. Saria is the Sage of the Forest appearing in The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Saria is a close friend of Link's as a fellow member of the Kokiri tribe. And, yeah, partway into the game you do reconvene with her and you learn a song from her. In fact, the song playing right now, the theme mostly affiliated with the Lost Woods, is called Saria's Song. So yeah, having her appear here in the Lost Woods, after a puzzle no less, is a little bit of a stroke of genius on Smash's part. Anyway, the battle itself is not too tricky, just need to get in a final hit. And yeah, I think that's going to do it. Sorry, Saria, no final smash for you. My win. So, defeating Saria opens up a whole new area for us. And, yeah, now's the time for us to work our way towards it. As for that spirit up there that I very briefly saw, that's going to annoy the hell out of me. Here is Katrina. Katrina appears in Animal Crossing. She's a fortune teller, bestowing either very good or very bad luck on you. Luck. There you go. Simple battle, simple premise, love it. So, moving on, the next spirit is Rex, the lead character of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I've talked about this game quite a lot from different spirits, but once again, in Xenoblade 2, you play as a bunch of drivers. People who can wield blades. Blades being weaponized life forms. In this case, Rex's blade is Pyra, who is assisting him in this battle. Hence the fiery floor. That is Pyra dealing AoE fire damage, which is what she does in Xenoblade 2. This fight would be really goddamn hard if not for it being a 3-star battle, somewhat nerfed. And, you know, the lava floor could be easily mitigated with a little spirit assistance, so yeah, it's just a case of getting in there, dishing out the damage, and there we go. Y'all ain't surviving that one. Nice. And that is Rex. So, moving on, the next spirit we have is Skull Kid. Skull Kids appear in the Legend of Zelda series. In Ocarina, they appear as a pair of kids who find themselves lost in the Lost Woods. And in the game Majora's Mask, Skull Kid plays a far more integral part to the game, serving as the main antagonist since he is possessed by Majora's Mask itself. Those Meta Knights, on the other hand, were representing Tattle and Tails, Skull Kid's fairies. So, time to recruit young Link. This is the young version of the Link who appears in Ocarina of Time. Once again, he is a member of the Kokiri tribe, despite not having a fairy at the very beginning of the game. And once he does get a fairy, he then has to go out on a big quest to meet up with the princess and eventually defeat Ganondorf. So, young Link, as he appears in Smash, first appeared in Smash Bros. Melee as an alternative character for Link, a smaller, faster, but arguably less damaging version of Link. And with Ultimate's, pledge to bring back every character, they did bring back Young Link, making this the first Smash game with 3 different Links in it. And, yeah, Young Link in this game is fucking beastly. Just, the fire arrows are incredibly potent. He's so quick, he's so agile. It's so easy to just barrage your opponent with projectiles and then follow up with quick flurries of blows. So, yeah, I always find myself worrying if I see a Young Link online. Because when people are good with him, they are terrifying, frankly. Very terrifying. So, by acquiring Young Link, we get the Triforce of Courage. We got 2 more Triforces to get before we can finish this whole huge-ass dungeon. So, we open up a chest. We have a Sheik mask. Nice aesthetic there for our Mii Brawlers, or our Mii Sword Fighters. And over here, we have Mimikyu. Appearing in Generation 7, Mimikyu is the mandatory Pikachu knockoff of that generation, not counting Togedemaru. But Mimikyu is interesting because the fact that it is a knockoff of Pikachu is its gimmick. Mimikyu is a Lovecraftian horror. Like an eldritch horror that to look at it would literally kill you. And so to make itself palatable for the human mind, to stop people's minds from melting, it covers itself with a shoddy, poorly made Pikachu costume so that it comes off as a little bit more endearing. And tying into the fact that Mimikyu will kill you if you look at it directly, in Smash Bros, Mimikyu is one of the few insta-kill items that can appear. If it grabs you and hugs you, or snuggles you, and you have more than 100 damage, it murders you. You die. You don't get blown away. You just kind of die there and then. So, that is wonderfully horrifying. Here, we have the Bulborb. Bulborbs are your most basic enemy in the Pikmin series. They even appear on the box cover of Pikmin 1, and the final boss of the game is their king, so to speak. So, yeah, not too hard of a fight if you do the thing that I just did, if you just fucking cheese it. Why the hell not? No shame. So, here we have Landia. Landia is a 4-headed dragon who, during their boss fight, if you deal enough damage to them, will split off into 4 separate dragons, which is how this particular battle functions. Landia's role in Kirby's Return to Dreamland is that it hoards over the Master Crown, and you have to team up with Magolor in order to defeat Landia and claim the crown. Hence why this stage has, well, me as a adorable princess wearing a crown. Obviously, we've done the Magolor spirit though, so you do get the realization after the fact that Magolor is a piece of shit, and Landia is actually protecting the crown from shitheads like him. And you played right into his hands, so for the final boss fight of that game, you actually team up with Landia, and you fly on their back to take down Magolor. And one more to go, just need to get an actual hit. There we go. Thing is, if I just left that Flare Blitz there and didn't interrupt it, it would have died from the recoil, and that would have been hilarious. So, here we have another Kaepora, waiting for a hero, and we have Sonic! Sonic T. Hedgehog. So, Sonic the Hedgehog is, do I need to explain Sonic the Hedgehog to you? You know who Sonic the Hedgehog is, I'm not going to patronize you. But Sonic's history with Smash is an interesting one, because, yeah, Sonic first appeared in Brawl, and it was, like, it was headline-grabbing news that Sonic was being added to Smash Bros, and I was incredibly hyped for it. And yet, Sonic didn't really appear in the game until, like, right at the end, like, right at the final boss, and helped you to defeat the final boss. The joke being that this super fast character ended up being really late. So, there you go. But, yeah, in later Smash Bros. Games, Sonic was far more accessible, easier to get, and thank God. And yeah, as a character, Sonic is kind of built entirely on hit and run tactics. Dashing around the arena with enough speed, throwing shit at you, or springs at you, turning himself into his spin dash ball and flinging himself around to deal damage without much risk of being interrupted or hit himself. Yeah, his whole thing is just being annoying, and Sonic is like the one character who I can accept being fast and annoying because, you know, just ask Dr. Robotnik, that's kind of his whole thing. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not particularly great with Sonic myself, but I have bumped into a few Sonics who've really shown how much potential the character has. But I don't see him dodging this. Sorry, Sonic. Unfortunately, and ironically, you were too slow. So, moving on, up in the world, we have Hilda. Hilda, once again from A Link Between Worlds, is the low rule equivalent of Princess Zelda. So for this battle, Zelda is playing Hilda, and the blue young Link is once again playing Ravio, the shopkeeper. So yeah, the two of them serve as Link and Zelda of their respective universes. And Nightmare spawning in to cover the world in darkness is something of a reference to, well, Hilda's ultimate plan, which is to claim the light of Hyrule for low rule. She's actually something of an antagonist for the vast majority of the game, but eventually kind of comes around, and yeah, eventually Hyrule and low rule get along. Low rule gets its own Triforce, which stops it from being steeped in darkness forever. Yeah, that's how that pans out. Now, how this battle is going to pan out is a little more different. For this battle, I'm going to kick the ever-loving crap out of both of them. And that will save Hyrule. That's how we save the day. So there we go. I will say, this stage, Hyrule Temple, anytime I see it in this mode, I'm filled with dread because I know the battle's going to take goddamn forever. But that's not to say I don't love playing this stage when I'm playing casually with mates. Honestly, like, anytime I'm playing with my flatmate in this game, we almost always just play on this stage exclusively because of the dynamics of it. This whole top half is like a standard stage, and when you go down to the bottom half, all bets are goddamn off. So yeah. Anyway, can't go up there yet, but we can go see Jacob. Jacob is Corrin's butler in Fire Emblem Fates. He fights pretty much exclusively with throwing knives, so to represent that, we have a Sheik, who is incredibly reliant on their needle throwing attack. Now, the good thing about that is that Sheik's needle throw attack is fucking garbage, so not much threat there. That bomb was upsettingly close. That could have really fucked me over there. Here is Malon. Malon is a young girl working at the Lon Lon Ranch in The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. As she works on the ranch where you can find cuckoos and you can buy Lon Lon milk, we have a stage which is constantly spawning in chickens and milk. So don't piss off the chickens or you will get murked. And if you do get murked, drink the delicious milk to bring your health back up. So yeah, pretty simple battle, all things considered. And before we finish, just want to bring your attention to this Smash Milk. The only brand of milk worth a damn. Fuck you, Cravendale. I have Smash Milk. Anyway, here is a puzzle of sorts. We'll get to that in a mo. But first, we have Zael. Zael is the main protagonist of Last Story, an action RPG for the Wii that was created by Hironobu Sakaguchi, creator of Final Fantasy. Which makes the fact that Final Fantasy and Last Story being synonyms very interesting. Anyway, in said game, you play as Zael and his ally Callista, and the two of them fight to save humanity from a beastly race of enemies called the Gorak. In the Last Story, Zael does have a special move named Gathering, and what he does for that move is he gradually takes damage and then he unleashes it to deal a devastating blowback. And that is the reason why, for this stage, if you deal oh so much damage, the game will just jump you to sudden death, and it becomes one-hit kills. The last story doesn't get much more representation in Smash, though, which is really interesting, because from what I've heard, it's quite an underrated gem. Be nice to maybe shine more of a spotlight on it. So, can't get to that area yet, but we can run up here and meet the Magical Vacation protagonists. So, Magical Vacation was a Game Boy Advance RPG game. It heavily featured a bunch of anthropomorphic animals, hence the Animal Crossing stage we see here. And the items spawning into this battle represent the elements fire, water, lightning, earth, or wood, and wind, the elements that played a part in the combat of Magical Vacation. So, yeah, that is an incredibly intricate detail that is borderline impossible to notice unless you read the Smash Wiki. Thank you, Smash Wiki, for highlighting that. Here we have Donbei and Hikari. They appear as the protagonists of an adventure game / visual novel whose title I will not try to pronounce, but does translate to Famicom Fairy Tales New Island of Ogres. And in said story, they bump into a bunch of animal allies: Ringo the dog, Matsunosuke the monkey, and Ohana the pheasant, all three of them being represented by the three fighters here. The story in question is based heavily on the folklore story of Momotaro, the Peach Boy. So yeah. That was a weird thing Nintendo tried for a bit, was making a series of interactive, or borderline interactive, visual novel folklore games for the NES, and while none of them ever left Japan because there's no appeal for that in the West, I'm a little sad I never got to at least check them out, because they sound interesting. And I'm saying this as someone who knows absolutely shit all about Japanese folklore, so yeah. Anyway, that is that. Nice and simple. And that was an upgradable spirit. We will upgrade them later. Here is Dunban, appearing in the original Xenoblade Chronicles. Dunban is one of your party members. He is both Shulk's mentor and a very skilled swordsman, so, you know, he gives Shulk all the skills necessary to wield the mighty Monado. For this particular battle, we have a Mii fighter playing Dunban himself, and yeah, teaming up with that Shulk, they can be quite formidable. However, I'm gonna give him a little taste of irony, and I am going to go out of my way to take them out with Shulk's Final Smash, which itself does summon Dunban. So yeah, I'm gonna fight Dunban with Dunban is what I'm doing. Obviously, the stage in the background is, you know, the Gua Plains from Xenoblade Chronicles. You know, the hub of that game, so to speak. And yeah, the music playing is You Will Know Our Names, the best fucking boss theme in any video game ever. Here come that Final Smash. And donk. There he goes. That is Dunban, done and dusted. Now let's see what's in this chest. We have Wall-merged Link. Link as he appears in A Link Between Worlds when affected by Yuga's paint magic. Nice. 1210. Now I immediately figured out the puzzle, even the first time playing through this, and I'm so proud of myself for doing so. You run back down to this section, which looks like a clock. The blues are for the big hand. The reds are for the small hands. 1210. And that unlocks a new spirit. Going down to interact with it, it turns out to be Impa. Impa is a member of the Shikar tribe and a devout protector of the Hyrulean royal family in The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Now, what can be said about Impa, other than the fact that she's a motherfucking ninja and is therefore amazing? So, yeah, representing Impa, we have Sheik, which, you know, is Zelda's alias based heavily on Impa, who helped raise her. So that's pretty goddamn neat. And, yeah, all of Sheik's skills, you know, you can pretty much extrapolate that Impa taught Zelda all of that. So, yeah. So, yeah, Impa's already pretty cool in that regard, and her appearance in Hyrule Warriors cemented her as one of the most badass characters in the entire Zelda canon. She just kinda fucking rules. She uses a big fuck-off sword in that, which you'd think would be unfitting for a ninja, but she pulls it off. She makes it work. Very much so. Anyway, got a nice clean opportunity for a KO here. And there we are, right off the roof. That's Impa defeated, and since she's gone, we now get access to Zelda. Makes sense. Take down the Protector, and you can get to her Protectee. But first, in the way, you have Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf. These are a trio of Pokemon introduced in Generation 4, and having them appear in Hyrule is genius, because in Generation 4, they represent knowledge, willpower, and emotion. So they're basically Pokemon's equivalent of the Triforce, which itself represents wisdom, courage, and power. So yeah, for this battle, we have the three little pixies. Once again, Pokemon that are referred to as pixies but aren't actually fairy type. All three of them are just psychic types. And yeah, it's just a case of kind of splitting them up and whittling them down. They do recover over time, and that is to represent that all three of them can learn the move Recover to heal themselves. God, I want a remake of Generation 4 so bad. I think everybody in the world does right now. Because, yeah, Diamond and Pearl for a lot of people was their first Pokemon game, and it's a good one to start on. A little slow by modern standards, but, you know, still very good and with the best array of legendaries. Anyway, just trying to get one more hit, which is a little difficult with Uxie here being all evasive. But there we go. And with that, let's take on the princess herself, Princess Zelda. Zelda, in this game, is based on her appearance in The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, which is a really interesting choice for Smash, because every Zelda incarnation in Smash before this one was based on Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess, the dark, edgy Zeldas, basically. So this is the first Zelda who's, like, light and bubbly, and she's incredibly lovable, except for her fucking moveset and everything else about her. Fuck Zeldas, man. They suck. I hate them. Everyone hates online Zeldas because her B moves are so fucking powerful and so annoying to deal with. She has all of the different abilities based on the Hyrulean gods, Din, Feyror, and Nehru. She has the Phantoms, which are a bastard to get around. And her final smash, to put it bluntly, is the best one in the game. It's the Triforce. It sucks you in and kills you if you're at a high enough percent. Just rude. Just straight up rude. Speaking of the Triforce, we now have the Triforce of Wisdom. And yeah, there's just one more piece to go. We will get that in 2 episodes' time. First, let's do some fusing. Putting together the Landmaster and the Arwing gives us the home base of the Star Fox team, the Great Fox, a 4-star spirit. Putting together Tiny and Candy Kong, you know, the 2 girl Kongs, one of them playable, one of them an NPC, gives us Dixie Kong, Diddy Kong's sidekick, and the protagonist of Donkey Kong Country 3. Putting together Malon with Rapidash, a fire-type horse Pokemon, gives us the horse, raised by Malon herself, Epona, once again from Ocarina of Time, and also Twilight Princess. Putting together Severa with Caitlin and Katie, a mother and daughter, gives us Severa's mother. from Awakening. Cordelia, the Pegasus Rider. As for upgrades, upgrading the Bulb Orb gives us the pretty goddamn gross Empress Bulblax. That is definitely a look. Upgrading Dixie Kong gives us her team up with Kiddy Kong, as they appear in Donkey Kong Country 3. And last of all, Model X upgrades into Model ZX, based on Zero. Nice.